let's move on to the next Syrah, because we're going to compare this one to one that this is a 2009, and so it's a single, and it's another vineyard altogether.
Yes, so I don't want to call it a comparison because we don't want Billy's vineyard to...
We can absolutely call it a comparison.
Yeah, well, we're comparing, but we're not judging.
Yes, exactly.
This one cost $35, and the last one you tasted cost $18.
So that's a question. That's a question. That's a question we've got online too. I want to throw out real quick. Okay. Price points and without a tasting room, where do people buy the wine?
It smells amazing.
Yeah, so locally, the wines are available really widely. Actually, the Central Coast is my largest selling area, and a lot of the local restaurants, Berry Hill Bistro, Artisan, Via Creek, Hotel Cheval, I'll always have it by the glass sometimes. 15 Degrees Wine Shop on Vineyard Drive always has a great supply of J.Dusi wines. And you can also try it at these places as well.
And it's very distinct. The logo is very distinct with a big J. And then
Big
Dusi.
J,
I mean, it really.
We don't like to emphasize that big J. What do I mean there?
But the point is, the J stands out, and everything else is pretty clean. It's not, it's not like a formal, not like a big
we shouldn't
formal
have gone viral, honey.
Square logo or anything like that. But pretty straightforward.
Don't worry, don't worry, Jay. We're keeping our J a little smaller.
And the price ranges are all starting with the Pinot Gris at $16. Really trying to get it in your glass all summer long. And the Zin hits just under $30. The first Syrah we had is $24. This one is $38. And the Zin port goes for $28. But you can find them locally a little cheaper than that.
Right.
So,
do you do wine club too?
I do wine club, and our next party is next Sunday. And I hear, for some odd reason, that it's like rain and possible snow in the forecast. But it's 80 degrees right now.
Come anyway because Chiro's going to be there with his pizza oven, we're going to make pizzas in the pizza oven come rain, shine, or snow.
Excellent.
Pizza and Zinfandel, can't go wrong.
Yes,
so,
and speaking of pizza, that's
there
what
we go.
have with
well,
this
actually,
one.
yes. How fun is that? To bring in the pizza. Well, we decided for this wine that we would do a barbecued chicken pizza with sauteed red onions, cilantro, and the barbecue sauce has the little chipotle peppers.
Holy cow, that's good.
And that have been smoked, as a chipotle pepper is. And so that's kind of a big bite.
If you are disheartened by Chipotle, because it has become mainstream. People have ruined it.
They have ruined it.
Chipotle sauces, all these creams, like you get these at these chains and stuff.
Yes.
They have ruined one of the best peppers.
They have, because
I'm a pepper. I know these things. You know what I'm saying?
Duh.
Right? This
you
is
are.
this is a Chipotle flavor here.
Yes.
That is the way it should be.
Yes. If you make your own barbecue sauce and you put the Chipotle pepper in, it doesn't have to overwhelm the barbecue sauce. So, and that's what we do. We make our own barbecue sauce, and I wanted a little smoky zip to the Syrah, and so I thought we would pair it with this Syrah. And
how about that
it also
sauce?
has spice on the
this
finish
Syrah,
on the back. Oh, it's so
if you
good.
guys, we just up the ante here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about a much more voluptuous, rich wine. I mean, this is
yeah, it is.
Yeah, this is a sexy Syrah, honey.
Yes,
the mouth feels totally different.
Yeah.
Completely different than the last one.
Yeah. It's a lot more complex. It's layers,
It's grown on a little hilltop.
Is this PG-13?
Yeah.
we're going to go R here in a little bit when we get to the port.
Yeah.
But it's grown on a little hilltop. And it's tell them the name of the vineyard and why.
So
your great grandmother is part of this deal, yeah.
The original vineyard on the east side, right there, across from Target Shopping Center.
Yeah.
Sounds bad, Vineyard, Target Shopping Center, but
for people who haven't been to Paso who need to come to Paso, you will find grapes growing across the street from Target.
So those are all our vineyards.
One of the most famous gold vine Zinfandel vineyards in the state of California that Ridge buys all from Uncle Benny. That was the original home ranch that they got in 1923.
Right.
It's sitting right there. And then straight across up the hill, when you look above Target, you're not going to see a lot of Targets in the world, where right above Target is a beautiful 22-acre vineyard on Catarina's Hill.
Exactly.
Which is where this Zinfandel comes from. So it is designated as the Catarina's Vineyard. It was my great-grandmother had bought that property a long, long time ago and always wanted to build a house there. So my brother and his wife did build a house there and planted it 22 acres of Zin and Syrah. And I'm just floored by the Syrah that's coming off the ranch. I love it.
Tell him where your brother got the idea on on the way that he trellised it. He trellised it a lot more. He trellised it the way the French would. He used a teepee style, like you see in Beaucastel and on the hillsides, and he goblets the vines. So as the canes come down, he ties them up, and they call it gobelet in France.
Right.
The goblet style.
Like
and he ties them all up in he ties them with strings, so they're all the canes are all tied up, all the fruit's hanging down below. It produces amazing Syrah, but how hard is it to pick? Do you want to just kill yourself?
It's a nightmare.
You have to dig inside.
No, you have to cut all the twines off, and you just get in there. And
it's like you have to work your way in a jungle and then try and find the tiny little clusters there, and it doesn't produce that much fruit.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he's pulling his hair out because
I hate picking that vineyard. Oh, and by the way, you're standing on a 45-degree hill on top of that. So just for the fun of it.
And you're doing it in October.
Flavor.
Late October, it can still be 90 degrees.
And it only wants to be picked on 100-degree days.
That's the day it's right?
But our final product, I think you are getting a lot of those layers, the characteristics there, the fruit, the vanilla tones. Just such a beautiful wine that I love, and it is just on West Side Paso. The other one, definitely different terroir, different planting styles, and a little different farming as well. So I just think it's so cool to have two varietals, 100% vineyard designate, and be so different.
Be incredibly different. Different techniques.
Unbelievable different.
And, just like the mad scientist with the oaks and the flavors and the spices, you're also doing the same with farming techniques, Try this, bend this, grow it this way, let's try it this side.
Well, that's why the trial and error. I mean, you think about wine regions. California overall is, we're just becoming a blip on the radar and in the whole time spectrum. Paso Robles even less so when it comes to being, going from Zin into everything else. So we're still making all kinds of mistakes. We haven't had 600 years or 800 years under our belt to trial and error, and figure out what every single village where we live, what it produces the very best of yet.
Yeah, very much so. Let's go to the phones once again. We've got another phone call here. We're taking the phone calls live and see who's on the line. Good evening. Who's this?
This is Melinda.
Hi, Melinda. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from California, Orange County.
Orange County. All right. Very good. Got a question for us here tonight?
I do. I have a question for Janel. I know you had talked earlier about the difference in Syrahs, and I was wondering if you might touch on if there's a difference between Primotivo and Zinfandel.
Oh yeah, the great Primotivo versus Zinfandel quandary. Yeah, we can certainly do that. Billy,
I can give you a little scientific part of it, but you go and you can talk.
We're planted back in as a Zinfandel varietal, and there's a lot of questions. We were just recently, last April, in Croatia, where they really try and hone in on the differences. And
well, there's a couple things that have happened recently. Pelvic Male was supposedly the grape that through DNA is where Zinfandel came from, Croatia. Through to Primitivo in southern Italy and the heel of Italy.
Right.
And then to here.
Sometimes people see Zinfandel and they think, that's not an Italian word. Where does that come from?
A lot of people, matter of fact, you can do your own little research on the web, and you're going to have a difficult time because they actually changed the spelling of it 3 times in the last 150 years. Okay, that's number one.
Yeah.
So, not sure where Zinfandel came from. However, it did come from Italian immigrants from southern Italy. Where Primitivo was. It became synonymous. Zinfandel became its new name when it came to America. There is a grape in Croatia they have in the last few years designated as the original DNA grape, and it's called Sherlinik Kastelanski or something. It's a very difficult name to pronounce. Yes, thank you. However, they found 9 of these vines in a really, really old vineyard over there, and they have been working diligently with Zap and the UC Davis. And Ridge is actually going to be being the overseer to bring this new grape. They're calling it ZPC because of Zinfandel, Primitivo, and this name I can't pronounce, and saying that they're kind of one and the same.
Gotcha.
And they're going to bring these. They're bringing these over from these 9 particular vines in this one vineyard in Croatia that's extremely old. And I'm not sure the time frame. It's within 2 to 3 years. They say that there's going to actually be a bottling of this particular grape. So they're definitely connected. And in Europe, you can call Primitivo or Zinfandel. United States, it's Zinfandel. It's Zinfandel. But if it started here and the clones came from here, so but there's lots of interesting stories. There's guys like
Ravenwood.
The father of Zin, one of the fathers of Zin for sure.
Right.
He really has this nailed down, and I've gone to listen to him speak about it, and it's fascinating.
Right. It would take a really trained tasting to really break down. We're talking about tasting DNA differences here.
No, you're not going to.
You're really not going to.